It is the weekend. This week has been really intensive for AMC. If we look here over the past 5 days, we are in the red. One thing which is important for the past week is that we finished above $12, and that shows that with all the manipulation that has happened, the price was still able to remain above 12, which is fantastic. Anyway, tonight we are reflecting on the past week, and I'm giving my thoughts and opinions. We have some relatively new news which you guys may or may not know of, and we have other things which you guys may want to know. As always, I'm sharing my thoughts and opinions at the end. Make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. But as you already know, I am not a financial advisor, so do not use this as your, advice. Just use it as somebody else's opinion when looking at the stock. But yes, we are going to jump in and start off by looking at how AMC has moved throughout the past 5 days. For this, we are going to start off over here on the more simple charts, which indicates how we were moving at the start of the week. Monday to Tuesday was pretty decent. It actually moved us up by a small amount. Same thing from Tuesday into Wednesday, and then we fell off a cliff. You can see here on Tuesday going into Wednesday, we saw this big drop in price. The share price came all the way down to about $12 on Thursday, and on Wednesday, and we can see that it has sat there basically ever since. Now, the one thing that I do want to point out is that obviously here on Wednesday, we were sat at about 12.42, now we are sat at about 12.08, but as the chart clearly dictates, you can see things were quite flat for the majority of the week after we saw the sell-off, which is really, really good. So we are still remaining in this $12 mark going into next week, which is fantastic. And another thing which is important to note, to me at least, is when we look at the volume, we can see that it is quite low. For this, we are going to go over here to the one-day chart, where you can see that obviously, according to Yahoo Finance, if it will let me show you guys, down here on the Friday, if we can have a quick look, it will show that we saw quite low volume in relation to what we usually see. So volume for Friday was apparently 53.07 million, as you can see in this corner down here. So 53.07 million. The previous day before that, if it will allow me to highlight that, was also quite low. So we can see a recurring theme, 61, then the day before that 89, and we can see that when this one does start to move up, it really does pick up volume quite quickly. Up here we saw volume figures of 200 million, then up here 158, and you can see now it has came down to 53 million even. So that is really low in relation to what we usually see, and this is good because people are concerned about what this means for the stock. People are concerned about where we are going now with the stock, and this to me at least shows that not a lot of people are selling, and this is fantastic. So the share price was able to remain above $12, and with all the manipulation that we have been seeing, the share price, you know what, it wasn't driven down past $11 or lower than that, which is really good. Now, we've heard a lot of bad news about AMC recently, and people are using this as an opportunity to spread FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. We're going to start off with the first situation which we do have. AMC's largest shareholder, Wanda Group, pares down the stake, so they have reduced their stake by a very large amount, to be fair, and a lot of people are concerned about what this means for AMC, what this means for their hope in the company, and all that kind of stuff. First things first, I think this is not as bad as some people are trying to make out. I'm sure a lot of people already know about this ordeal because it is from 17 hours ago. It happened yesterday, but I don't think this is a big deal. That's just my thoughts on it. It's not the best, but I am happy that they have sold out before the squeeze, if the squeeze is going to happen. And the reason before that is because it would not make them sell, during the squeeze, which would potentially limit the highs that we could see. So selling now before the squeeze has commenced, if it is going to commence, is better for the investors because it just means that retail owns more of the float. People are asking, have the shorts covered using this? I personally do not think that is the case. Maybe a small amount have, but not really enough to justify this one being a big deal and a bad deal for this situation. So for me, this is not important at all, and if anything, it could be a good thing for the retail investors, being as the biggest holder of AMC shares has pulled out. And again, it doesn't sound great, but this is not a normal company at the moment. The share price is not doing normal things, and the company is not moving in a normal manner. We are not here for normal growth, even though it is possible. We all know what we could be seeing with AMC, so you know what? For these shareholders to pull out isn't that big of a deal. Now, the second thing which people have been complaining about throughout the last week and into the weekend is the delay of the share counting. Now, first things first, I don't think this is a big deal at all either, and again, this is just my opinion. We do want to know how many shares are out there, but people put a bit too much weighting on that, and I don't think it was all it was made out to be. It doesn't matter how many shares there are, it doesn't matter when we find out how many shares there are either. What we know is that the shorts have to cover at some point, and we already know this could be tomorrow, it could be 10 days in the future, it could be at any point, it could be a year on down the line. But what we do need to know is that the shorts still do need to cover, and obviously the share count is a big deal, it kind of is, it will kind of shows how many shares are out there, but in the meantime it's not as important to me as people do make it out to be. So now we've got all the bad news out of the way, let us move on to the good news. We have this article over here on Yahoo Finance, you can see, which talks about the options market predicting a spike in AMC Entertainment's stock. So first things first, off reading this article's title, fantastic. We've seen something from Yahoo Finance, and it is positive. Now, one thing which I have stated many a time, AMC and the whole situation regarding it is growing, is becoming more and more popular, we already knew that. But now we are seeing a lot more media outlets become more positive on AMC, because previously, I'm not saying Yahoo Finance in this instance, but a lot of other media outlets were negative about this, and now a lot of these are turning positive. So more and more bullish cases for AMC, and this is good, especially coming from media. Anyway, we can see here, if we do read the first line of the article, investors in AMC Entertainment Holdings, they need to pay close attention to the stock based on moves in the options market lately. That is because on June the 4th of 2021, we can see $28 call had some of the highest implied volatility of all equity options today. And if we do have a quick look down here, we can just have a quick read of what this means. We can see implied volatility shows how much movement the market is expecting in the future. So we can see that the market is, generally speaking, expecting a lot of movement in AMC, being as the share price is currently valued at 12. And this really could kickstart us going forwards. It shows a lot of people are hoping to see big things with AMC. Well, let's quickly have a look at what the analysts think to this. We can see here that the analysts are saying that AMC is a 3 rating hold, and this is coming from Zach's rank. And on top of that, we also have Twitter, the guy that we looked at just a few days ago. His name is Donisqui, something like that, I believe. Anyway, we can see what he has said is that yes, the squeeze score is still out of 10 out of 10 for AMC. So previously he rated this one at a 10 out of 10, and again, this is only his opinion. It may be right, it may be wrong, but he said that this is a 10 out of 10 chance, 100% likely to happen, and he says that even with what has happened, this is still a 10 out of 10 chance. This was published 22 hours ago, and you can find it on his Twitter, which you can see down here. It is ihors3, so you can quickly go and Google that one if you would like to do so, but it tells us what is going on with his rating so far. Now, another good thing which people have been focusing on, the SEC hits broker-dealer with naked short suit, and this is another thing in the right direction for AMC and for the market as a whole. Now, a lot of you guys who do know what is going on here with this lawsuit will know what is going on, and I think this is a big deal. It basically mentions down here that in a lawsuit filed in Manhattan's federal court on Wednesday, the agency said that the defendant BTIG LLC had failed to accurately mark a hedge fund's client's sell orders or locate the shares its client had wanted to sell short. So what does this mean? It shows that obviously the SEC are kind of taking this a bit more seriously. People have been talking about all this manipulation in the market right now, and to me at least, this kind of does show that it is possibly true. Now again, this is all just alleged, and we just don't know what is going on with this case yet, but it is a step in the right direction. If not for AMC, then for the market in general, because this sort of thing, this naked shorting, does need to stop. So the fact this lawsuit has been filed is good. And again, this information here is coming from xbulletin.com. If you do want to have a read of it, it is also on other sources. But that is what we've seen this week with AMC. Just to wrap things up, because this is meant to be a summary of what we have seen throughout the past week, we are down in the past week. Does it matter? Not really. We've seen a lot of manipulation in the price, and as I have mentioned, if you guys are here for the squeeze like I personally am, we are not necessarily too bothered about the price action at the moment. It doesn't mean too much. People on forums, people here and there are going to try and tell you that this is a big deal. This is bad that AMC is going down. Let's just face the facts. AMC is going down by a small amount. That's completely fine. I always say with AMC, if you own shares, don't buy too many. Buy what you're willing to lose because, in the worst case scenario, who knows what's going to happen. But let's face it, we are down by a couple of percent now, and the potential to go up to, $100, $1,000 maybe, some people say even $100,000, well, it is there, we could get to $100 for sure. That's a very low estimate, especially looking at what we have seen before, and again, if this one was to get to $100, that would be almost a 10x return, and that would be a low estimate as some people are saying, and that is just something to think about. What is the risk to reward with AMC? Does it weigh up for you, and are you still happy? Because for me, we are seeing some negative things around the company, but we are also seeing some positive things around the company, and it is important to get both sides. Although it is also important to make up your own mind, do your own research, so I will leave you to do that. I will see you all again tomorrow, hopefully, for another update, and if I'm not here tomorrow, I definitely will be on Monday to see what the market does and how it reacts to AMC. Goodbye, see you soon.